Investing in data and advanced analytics is something that we're investing in as a common capability as part of our data and technology mandate. So in that, we're thinking about where we have common needs like tools, architecture, platforms, processes, and governance and data governance that underpins that. And Jane spoke about something really important about building experience into our solutions. And in that vein, we're also thinking about the data experience and how we can offer a data at your fingertips experience that's easy and intuitive to use. It means we need to get those strong foundations like data dictionaries and governance in place. And we need to make participation in the data ecosystem a fluid experience so we can get to those outcomes using data easy for our business partners. We're also thinking about what skill sets are best positioned to be in technology and those that are best positioned to be close to the business. So data science is a great example. Data has always been used in making good business decisions, and undoubtedly it's the basis of a good plan. So it makes sense that data scientists should be close to the business opportunity or the challenge that they're working on. In some teams, we're quite strong in that embedded skill set. In some places, we're still developing those skills. So in our approach to managing data and advanced analytics, we're forming a COE where we can incubate those skills and we can become then a teaching organization and enhance an organization that can become a more data proficient organization very broadly.
With Pizza, we have different segments of data. We have our ERP system at finance, distribution, warehouse. We have our digital channels where we have customer information with our call center, and then our POS. And if you guys ever order pizza and you look at all the different promotion that we're having, it all comes from data analytics. We have so much data for such a long time that it took us only about 2 years ago when we start using it. What we did is IT had to prove to the business that, you know what, if you have data consolidation, if you look at the metrics within data, if you look at the day parts, if you look at how customers are gravitating to certain types of products that we have, the specials that we have, the day we have the special, the time of the week, because if you guys know pizza, Friday night, everyone goes and order pizza, right? So that's our busiest day of the week. And if you have a hockey game or any type of sports that's happening, mostly hockey, it's more family thing, we'll see a spike in volume as well coming. So these are the things we look at. And what we did, we started out with a warehouse. We show it to the business. We have power users start using warehouse. They start using the spreadsheet, use pivot table. And these guys they used to take about 3 hours to massage a report. It took them 10 minutes to bring it from a data warehouse into a spreadsheet, and they were able to create reports. And that's kind of show the business that, look, that's the proof of the pudding. It really works. So what we have done, we bring in a BI tool and we consolidated all the data set that we have. And like Monique was saying, data dictionary is the key, because the intention is if we can give the user a menu to look at their own report and drill down to that report, that's where the business user themselves can use that tools, understand what it means, and see what the data it is. So, and it has to be visual as well. So that's what we did. We actually create dashboards where a business user can go into it and drill down from a summary of the entire chain and drill down all the way to a product within a store. So a district manager, for example, has his own territory. He can look at his performance of his store, know what's selling, what ingredients are selling. He can even know what the complaints to that store is. He can know what the wastage of that store is. He could understand, what are the the best selling pizza for that store. And they can help the franchisee with those areas of improvement to work with them. And we have been using that for the last year. It's been working great for us, but we haven't stopped there. There's so much data that we still have to integrate. We have service data. We have data that we have surveys that our customer does. And these are the typical data we would like to bring in. We have our call center data that we are putting in as well. So I think data is an ongoing thing, and having smart people understand data and providing it to to the business is the key at the end of the day.
The data strategy is carved up somewhat, but there's certainly a focus on the data strategy being important in light of the fact that there is an enterprise program labeled as Path to Digital that really relies on the data strategy across the enterprise. So there is a chief data officer, obviously, that is on the business side that owns the strategy operationally across the organization, and that actually then derives the the underlying technology foundation that supports or would enable that data strategy. And that is owned then by there's kind of a partner on the technology side that is really considered the owner of the enterprise data lake that would then support the design and the bringing to life of the data strategy and the governance around the framework, which is again supported by the chief data officer.
Yeah, so we're, again, pretty basic organization. So we've got our data consolidated in one area. We focus on the cleanliness of the data. We focused on the data dictionary. We focused on the understanding. Now that we've got the data all set up, what we focused on is really understanding our customer base. So we have a very good understanding of customer characteristics by segment and what kind of behaviors those customers are exhibiting. And therefore, we can look across a customer segment and understand why some customers are behaving the way that segment is looking and others aren't. And we can dig deeper and understand how we can get more share of wallet for them. It then exacerbates into how we improve things in our omni-channel environment. It helps us distinguish what kind of functions and features we should put in that environment. And then it enables us to get into AI. So we actually, good point here is we've worked with the University of Toronto for about 2 years. And actually it was Yuri that I met at a roundtable about 2 years ago through this. And we've done great things together. So we've implemented a recommendation engine, for example, online. The University of Toronto is helping us on predictability of supplier on time for our products to our branches and our distribution centers. But we're using it really because our data is clean, our data is well defined, and it's consolidated, and it's a good tactical environment with a business intelligence team around it, and we're able to get greater share of wallet.
So we have a bit of a scale problem in that, we measure our data consumption in the exabytes, right, versus the petabytes, and that's on an annual basis. And we have 800 brands, so I'd argue we have at least 500 CDOs. Because of that, we need to have a pretty decent understanding of our data strategy, and it's pretty consistent across the brands, across the big organization. So we have 4 capabilities to which we need to deliver on, and the strategy is based on these capabilities. So the first one's steward, right? So the assumption is that data can be created at the edge, at the core, at the cloud, at our consumers, and the machines that we produce. Therefore, you have to protect it, you have to secure it, you have to keep it private, you have to appreciate its life cycle, right? That's the original one. Number 2 capability is called enrich. So now that I have appreciation for the transaction, I need to create meta information around that, right? I have to have data upon data. I have to have a 360-degree view of that thing. It might be a part, or it might be a machine, or it might be a person, it might be a piece of technology, but give me sort of a catalog enriched version. Third one being more like activating, right? So now that I have an enriched version of this information, how do I connect to 1,000 points of light? How do I orchestrate machine learning and mathematical algorithms? And how do I derive some insight from that? And then the fourth capability is monetize. So how do I earn new revenue? How do I make better decisions? How do I know more about the customer? How do I streamline my process? They're all sort of monetization mechanisms of that. And all of those 4 capabilities are managed and run under the individual CDO.
You need to understand we're in the service industry, healthcare service, right? So really for us, it's all about staffing levels, because we need to match demand with what we have on the bench to be able to satisfy the requirements. So, I mean, pre-COVID, just to go through this use case, I mean, every single business unit had their what I would call legacy report from the various system they had. There was always the debate on who had the real facts. We literally used the COVID crisis as an opportunity and transform it into an opportunity to really transform the way we manage and we looked at the data. So we created a standard set of data executives dashboard that we deployed across the board, and that is now used to manage the day-to-day, but also the prediction of what staffing level we will need in the future. And it permitted us to really change the way we were managing, and also the way how to ramp down resource and how to ramp it up again. And it prevented us from having to deal with this huge cliff that came to us.
We talked about security data, or data that's involved in securing the enterprise. We talked about operational data. What I see our customers doing is putting the two together, and we're seeing data have sort of like a multiplier effect of value. So a business service, as it moves to digital, is obviously going to need security and operations, and inside those buckets, the data that's used to secure yourself in the right fashion or to operate the service in the right fashion, much of that data is exactly the same. So it's not a siloed approach anymore. Data is actually coming together. And what some of our customers are doing are they're overlaying customer data on top of it. A couple of examples of that, a retailer has 15 different channels that their customers can order their service or their product. And managing the customer environment across those 15 is complex in itself. I mean, they can order from Amazon Alexa, they can order from a TV, they can order from obviously a web page or a mobile device. But what they've done is they've overlaid customer loyalty data on top of it. So now they can determine which customers are getting the good, better, or worse experience, and then be proactive with customer engagement. So that we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing data coming together to drive business decisions, operational data, security data, and then overlay customer data. And then we're seeing it sort of branch out into what I call operational data. So to machines, we have a customer that's using the same operational and security footprint with heavy machinery that they sell to their customers just for preventative maintenance. So they're using the operational data to make sure that the service is up and running, but then they're using that in conjunction with data that's coming from, in this case, heavy construction machinery at a customer site to know when the number one thing that goes wrong with these things is spark plugs, apparently. So to know when spark plugs are about to fail, they send the spark plugs out before they fail. And you can imagine the heavy machinery being out for a day because of spark plugs is not a good customer experience. So we're seeing, I guess in a nutshell, data that's collected on digital experiences, both operational and security, overlaid with customer value data or loyalty data, is driving new services, new channels to market, and new sort of preventative maintenance or preventative type services to their customers.